Oh, hi there, everybody. Welcome to a first episode, kinda like a prologue thing, to a podcasty thing that me and my best friend Nate here, say hi, Nate,
Hello.
that we're going to do. The title of this podcast, after like some thought, is going to be called Barely Outside the Box. Now, you're probably wondering why. Well, because Nate is a box, I'm a bear, and this title was barely creative to begin with, so let's just go with the flow or
hmm
something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
yeah,
excited to discuss anything that I like to do with the Dusty, and
yeah,
I
with the
was wondering
Dusty.
with the Dusty.
Uh, no, but yeah. So
Sorry,
this pod,
I'm a bit tired to start uh
it's
talking in this podcast, but I was
it's all
wondering
good.
what kind of topic are we starting today, man?
Oh, well, so the suggested topic of today is that like we're gonna talk about basically what is this podcast? What is Barely Outside the Box, or Bob for short, the Bob podcast? Like why did this come into fruition? Like what is the history behind the two speakers, the hosts, for that matter? And
Oh yeah,
I think yeah, that's more or less it.
oh yeah,
Um, so yeah,
because
to
we
begin
had a
with,
long history together
yeah, yeah.
back then.
So anyway, to begin with, what is Barely Outside the Box? What are we going to be doing? Well, since we're predominantly writers, I'm more of like an abridger kind of guy. Nate is mostly a writer, for like as far as hobbies go.
Yeah.
Um, but most of this podcast is going to be reflected around like maybe some writing stuff, maybe some media stuff, some pop culture discussions every now and then. Not too many though. We're gonna generalize a lot of stuff. Um, every now and then we'll have some guests on board. I'm not gonna like all like automatically say who would be in the next podcast because uh, we don't know during the recording who's gonna be the next podcast. We'll know by then when we do record. But yeah, mostly just like media stuff, like writing, our hobbies, and pop culture stuff every now and then, like
Mhm.
talking about Star Wars or Marvel movies or whatnot. Just the usual.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be barely outside the box, or Bob. Uh, Nate, do you have anything to include in regards to what else will be in the podcast?
I don't really mind if you want to discuss any issues besides media. We could talk about like personal issues or political things or whatever, which I don't really mind at first. I had some ideas that I could bring with barely outside the box, which may not really happen that much, but if we thought about uh doing stuff outside media discussion, then we're
Right.
probably going to do it. So we don't know.
Okay.
It's up to us to think about what keeps the podcast going, and yeah, that's how it goes.
Right. All right. Yeah.
We
So
may
what?
not know what to do in the future, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll always like pre-plan these more or less. So
hmm
like it's not much of a worry. Um, but yeah, basically, so Barely Outside the Box was a thing that we wanted to do since last year, because I brought it up out of nowhere. But it wasn't always an out of nowhere thing. On
Not really.
another channel that we don't post on, or at least I don't post on, and Nate doesn't post on anymore, or at least I don't post on anymore. It's called the Dusty Controllers. It was a group channel created by four people, or well, three people, and Nate was the first member. He was,
hmm
yeah. It's more or less just a gaming channel. Um, but on that channel we had what was called the Light Dust Rag calls, which was an attempt to do like a monthly podcast sort of thing. Um, and we're more or less kind of reviving it through this. Uh, Keep in mind we we don't have anything like immediately planned right now, but we'll cross that bridge once we get like to the future podcasts and whatnot. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be more or less a similar format where we discuss topics. And yeah, like occasionally bring in guests. There's probably gonna be a guest every month, or at least every podcast. After this one,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Nate?
Maybe.
All right.
Well, we'll try to bring in guests every month or every other week.
Right. Okay. All right.
Depends.
Yep. But yeah, so that's gonna be like more or less the gist of the podcast. Um, Now with that out of the way, discussing what the podcast was gonna be, let's talk about who are your hosts. I am Dusty. That's Nate. Say hi again, Nate.
Hello again.
Yeah. So basically, just a little bit of a background kind of thing, and more or less to discuss the point of like why we're doing this podcast specifically. Nate and I have been best friends since 7th grade. We were both, our parents were both stationed in Iwakuni, Japan at the time. And we both went to the same school for about 3 years, I want to say.
Yeah. At least
Yeah.
3 years.
When was that? We first met in like 2011? 2010?
2008.
8. Wow. Right. No. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yep, I remember when I have to fly all the way down to Japan from Washington State because I know that my dad received orders from the Navy to move to another station in Japan. And it's
Right.
been a surprising moment since, well, I don't know if anyone has heard this, that both Dusty and I were born in Okinawa, Japan. And
Yeah, we were actually born in the same base. It was kind of weird to think
apparently.
about. Like after discussion, like after hearing it, I was like, "What? Really?
yeah,
We were born only like maybe 7 months apart, but we were born in the same place. What the heck is that?"
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, it was kind of interesting. Like when we first met, we didn't think we'd be doing a lot of stuff together, or at least I didn't think we would
not really.
until we had an interest in Smash Brothers, and also videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And by that point, like I think our first collaboration together was Nintendo and Nate. Back when I used to be known as Nintendo Pivot Mix. You can still find that. You can still find that username if you like click on a certain like. Some people will link my channel as that, and like while it's frustrating that I can't have it just be Dusty Socks, you'll still be able to see it there. But yeah, we used to have a few little skits called the Nintendo and Nate. And after that, I think our first actual major production was a thing called Stupid Ends. Again, referring to the fact that we both had a username that was started with N. Back then, mine obviously Nintendo Pivot Mix.
I think I came up with that name because the first letter of our usernames are N, and that's why we just started random skits. It's pretty much. I guess we can go along as we go.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was also like because your name at the time was Nate the Ultimate, and like it hasn't really changed too much aside from the Ultimate part is changed now to DJMoviesBox. You're still keeping the Nate part, so
Yeah.
But yeah, like by that point, we were doing live action skits with another group of friends, and like previously before then, that same group of friends, we formed a channel together that we never really posted a video on aside from like introductory stuff. This time when we went to Stupid Ends, we posted like a few pilot preview videos before our pilot, which was posted unlisted now on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime at around like 2012, I think, the Dusty Controllers channel was finally formed, and that was like the last like official collaboration channel that we decided to solidly stick on. me, Nate, and then the couple of other guys who've been with us during Stupid Ends and stuff. Along with a couple other guys, we were more or less like had the idea initially of posting it as like a Brawl commentary channel because Nate and I at the time were very into like competitive Brawl, or at least trying to be really good at it.
We tried.
Spoiler alert: we suck ass. We suck. But no, yeah, it was later at that point we decided we were not going to just do Brawl. We were going to do video games as well. I don't think Nate was in actually that many videos, were you? Like, you were, like, in a couple call videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Quap video, where your voice was in it. But I don't think you ever actually posted any, like, gameplay footage.
No.
Yeah.
It
like,
feels it feels weird at the time that I wasn't able to do any free commentary stuff because
right.
you know that I was busy with other things, or
right.
that I just slacked off too easily. And
I mean,
it's basically
yeah, like,
my fault that I wasn't able to contribute much to the channel.
Oh, well, don't sell yourself short. I mean, it was also the fact that, like, at that point, when we finally formed TDC, like, at some point, maybe a year later, you had to move.
Yeah.
And that's like a 4 or 5 hour drive from where we were previously at.
Yeah.
It would only happen like occasionally. Like, we would only meet up like every now and then, either because Nate and I were both playing baseball in high school. Him much earlier than I.
Mm-hmm. I started around 7th grade, and I encouraged Dusty to join in during 8th grade.
Yeah. And then I officially went in as a freshman. And, like, with Nate and I, like, we were just playing, and, we were both really bad. We were mostly on the bench. I think at around junior year, we started actually, like, playing a bit more. Sophomore year, I started playing a bit more. I think Nate also. And then by junior year, we actually played against each other. He struck me out. I'm gonna admit that fully. He struck me out. But, like, that was at the time, I was pretty bad at, like, reading the pitches. Like, over the year, I think I got a little better and was able to hit more. But, yeah, like, we played baseball together, and that was, like, really the only times, aside from, like, maybe an occasional visit to where Nate lived, where we would collaborate. Or if Nate would come over, we did for a Brawl match, I think. Right?
Yeah, that was in Tokyo, called Sunrise Tournament.
No. When you went over to my house, we did like 5 sets, and then.
Oh yeah, that too. But then
yeah.
I was also gonna mention that we attended that Brawl tournament.
Oh yeah. Sunrise Tournament, a more or less international tournament with like a bunch of people there. One of my favorite Smash players was there, and he was actually sitting behind us. When we played against the eventual champions of the doubles bracket, and all he could say was "Wow," and then we just kind of walked up, and I was kind of dejected. I was like, "Oh man, I suck."
Yeah. I remember at the time, during the trip to the tournament, is that we were laughing too hard at the back of the car because I know your dad was driving the car, and then I know my dad was there too. It's just that we joked around a lot, and that we made fun of Bane's voice from The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, exactly. Oh.
And then I know that in the next morning, I had a really bad stomachache.
What happened?
It's because of all that laughing we did.
Oh.
I believe. Which caused me to, irritate my stomach so much that I can't handle the pain.
I think, was that on the way there?
That was on the way there.
Okay, alright. I mean, I don't remember. I think we ended up actually getting lucky when we actually went over there and
Hmm.
booked a hotel, like the usual hotel that most people go to, from like any military base.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of lucky because like they were open
Yeah,
and
but then we have to go to my dad just to find the way to get there to
yeah,
Tokyo.
exactly. It was much harder because like it was Obon, like it was time, it was the Obon event season. It's not season. It would be Obon week or something.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. But yeah, like traffic was. There was quite a bit of traffic. Not as much, interestingly, as we thought because we actually made it there early.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, the sunrise tournament was interesting. We didn't do so well doubles. Obviously, we both dropped out at like last place or at least tied.
Yeah.
Uh, And for singles, I don't think we even made it out of pools. Did you make it out of pool? Like, what was your place in pools? Did you? How
I
did you do?
I don't really remember. I think I lost all of my matches.
Yeah, I think I lost all my matches too. We were both really bad, and I think comparatively speaking, we're still probably really bad at Smash together. Like all the Smash games.
Yeah.
Um, But that was an event that was kind of interesting. We got to meet some cool people there. We got to play some Smash, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Uh, got to really experience like the pro-ish level of what was gonna what was going on, and
Hmm.
I was actually quite happy. Like in retrospect, with all the experience, despite losing as badly as I did, I thought, man, this was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Um,
It was.
and like little did I know later on I would try to do like a similar thing later on. I think a couple of years ago I went to attend a local at my college and I got my butt whooped kinda. I placed a little farther than last this time, but it is what it is. It's whatever at this point. Um yeah, attending like gaming tournaments like that is kind of fun. But I don't know if we'll be doing it again. Maybe eventually someday. But yeah, so uh we attended Sunrise Tournament. We basically did a lot of stuff together. Despite being far away, we tried to plan like a bunch of different things like skits or videos or stuff. Um and then eventually we both moved to the States after graduating from high school.
Hmm.
Um, and then like at some point I got really interested in abridging, or like after doing a couple of gaming videos for the Dusty Controllers channel. Um, I at one point decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna abridge at some point, and lo and behold, a bunch of the friends on Dusty Controllers were willing to help, Nate included. Uh, if you don't know already, like there's a series of videos called Death Note in a Nutshell, and in it, Nate voices. Go ahead and tell who you voice.
Oh man.
Hello, my name is Ryuk, and I love eating apples.
Oh man. So Ryuk is one of them, and I know I did. Oh hi, I'm Matsuda, and then I did Chief. It's hard
Yeah,
to get into a deep voice for Chief, but I
yeah,
think working with Death Note in a nutshell is fine. But when Dusty told me that he's gonna work on an abridging project, it felt like an unexpected transition.
yeah. It felt kind of weird. Like it was something that we'd never really done before because like at that time we were mostly just like live action stuff or even gaming. Um, but this was like a new kind of twist. But I was always interested in doing something like that. Like I think around since 2013, I always had the idea of like at some point I'm gonna do like or 2012 actually. I think some point I was going to like be like I want to do an abridgment at some point. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but at some day I'm going to do it, and with a certain anime that I think will be fine. And lo and behold, it was Death Note. Um, you forgot you also voiced Lindell Taylor.
Oh yeah, in the Tiba thing.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like at some point we decided, or at least I decided that I wanted to do a bridging, and every now and then Nate would Well, I think in all the videos, except for like the first one, yeah, the first one with Nier and like Lights laughing, um, I think every single video from them on Nate was voicing like either Ryuk or Matsuda or someone,
Hmm.
uh, and yeah, it was quite interesting. Sometime afterwards, though, like after the video called Oversight, I decided instead of having my friends voice it, I was more or less just jumping into an actual like casting call esque abridgment. Um, I didn't use casting call, obviously. I used Google Docs to formally post the thing. Um, but that's not the point. The point was I'd officially written a script where I wasn't finally going to include myself or my friends, and I wanted a couple of people to look over it, Nate included. I got enough feedback where I was satisfied, and I made Tanaka-kun, which you can see on my channel. Um, I did another episode of that, but like after those two episodes, I thought it's probably time to take a break from doing Tanaka-kun, and I didn't want to be pigeonholed as the guy who does that kind of writing. I wanted to do something different, maybe something dynamic. And always in the back of my mind was like a little bit of like a collaboration work with my good friend Nate, and we wanted to do a project called Roka no Yusha abridged, or in this case it would be Roka Abridgment of the Six Flowers.
Hmm.
And knowing that Nate wasn't really like he'd never really written for an abridgment or had done anything in regards to it, I knew it was going to be a bit of a challenge because we had to formulate it in a way that would still fit like an abridging material sort of episode. But like eventually, I think at around like last year, maybe November, we finally finished the first draft, the second draft of the first script, and we like it's currently in the processes of editing right now.
Hmm.
I want to say November, right? Was it, or was it like December or something?
That was like
Or was it?
last October because we
Was it
were.
October?
Yeah.
Oh, right, because November we actually did the casting call.
I may not remember.
Yeah,
Or-
I
was
think
it 2
was
years
around
ago
that
or
point.
last year?
No, it was last year. Yeah,
Okay.
it was last year. Yeah. 2 years ago, I think I was still doing Tanaka 1, or something like that. But yeah, no, like, eventually we ended up being here, like, I thought it was time to either, like, include Nate into actually abridging, with, like, Roka and stuff, to finally collab once again, because I thought we hadn't at that point, like, really collabed in a while for, like, something, and I thought this was a good, like, little thing to do, because, we hadn't really done anything since Stupid Ends, like, officially.
Yeah, not
Um,
really.
and yeah, and knowing that like Nate was more into like writing, like formal, actual like storytelling writing, as opposed to abridging. Um, I thought it would be an interesting experience to have him in because I know his kind of forte is like more plot oriented, and mine is really character based. And I thought maybe we could mesh that in. And personally, while the script, after a couple months, it feels a little bit like we could work on it a little better. I thought that I think it's more or less as solid as it's gonna be for a first episode. Um, and yeah, I thought it'd be fun to work with Nate again. I think, especially with the directing and stuff. I think that was the most fun we had since Stupid Ends for directing. Nate, do you want to like add any thoughts to like what like Roka or whatever experiences?
I think it's been a really fun experience just to work with the actors, with the script, and it's been really interesting just to meet some of the actors that you've met before, which
Right.
I didn't get really to interact a lot. So
Yeah.
it's been really a fun experience just to see that these these guys who are sorry, who had so much fun in doing voice work for this abridged project we're working on, and it's just to see how we envision the personality of the character through the voice of the actors, and it's been really fun at that time. I know we had a bunch of funny moments with a few actors,
Right.
and yeah,
Um, and like I think even afterwards, after working on Roka, like I started working on Tanaka 3 at the same point. And
oh,
like even then Nate I think couldn't get enough of the directing and he wanted to jump in on all directing sessions. And I think he was there for all of them so
yeah,
far.
I was there for
I
all of them, but I slept in one of them.
yeah.
I think
I
it's with
think
the guy who played Tanaka because, you know,
I mean, to be fair, yeah, it is Tanaka. Like it's the like really monotone sounding. So like you
it
can
was.
easily you can easily fall asleep peacefully to listening to the voice actor of Tanaka. His voice is just that soothing.
I know, he should read me a bedtime story.
It is Tanaka voice.
Yes.
I think actually what would be surprising is if he read "Go the fuck to sleep."
Yeah, that's
in
what I
the
thought
book.
too.
I think that would probably be like, whoa.
Oh,
I was
dude.
not
Chill
expecting
down.
that. Yeah. But yeah, no, like, ever since then, he's been more or less jumping into, like, the directing sessions that I did for Tanaka-kun.
Hmm.
Um, and, I think he's had a better experience with abridging since then, like, since, Roka. And, like, he's even talked about wanting to do an abridgment himself at some point. Um,
I know it's a
do,
possibility, but
yeah.
it's
Uh,
when I think about this abridgment thing, uh, it's pretty much a I wouldn't say it's gonna break the rules of traditional abridging, but it's like a new convention to set forth. Uh, if I get more practice on storytelling and more character-based stuff, it's gonna be a really interesting ride on what I'm gonna do with this abridgment. Because I don't
right.
know in the future if it's gonna be pretty different than the other abridgments, but I'll see what I might
Yeah.
hold about it and
Uh,
such. It's just a
did you want to
possibility.
talk
Huh?
Did you want to talk about like the name or something, like anything in specific, or did you want to keep that a secret for like future
I think
stuff?
I just want to keep it a secret for future stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm
Um.
still in the process of. I know that I've been writing plot outlines that contained a few details here and there, what I can do with the characters, how would they develop through the story, but I haven't done script writing for a while. So,
Yeah. Or like full out fledged like actual story like because mostly it's been outlines, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Um. And like I think a good practice for that was like script writing. I think like you got a better handle once like we were writing the script to Roca 1 and then
Hmm.
like going into Roca 2 like you have an idea of like what we should be doing. Like or at least
Yeah.
what you should be doing for like your stories.
Yeah.
Um
It's just a way on how we balance the comedy and storytelling.
right.
That's the thing. That's the most challenging part because I know that in Roku One, it's mostly based about comedy, but I suggested to I think a few suggestions to
I
Dusty on how to
yeah.
give in more serious thoughts, and then he's been asking me a lot, and then I gave him suggestions like, "Oh man, I need to process my thoughts. Give me time, man."
Yeah. I think it's a concept like I think Roca 1 actually is quite balanced in both. I think as much as Adlet is a character like he's kind of wimpy and kind of fun like he's kind of the comedic foil of the series. I think it still maintains like a serious element to the whole thing. It's just
Yeah,
based on the character interactions that we produced in there.
yeah, yeah.
Um I think Ruka 2 might maintain kind of a similar idea. Maybe a little funnier. I don't know.
Yeah.
We still yet to actually finish the whole script, but we're gonna be getting there at some point. Especially now with like a lot of free time that I have. Like I think I'll be able to do more stuff with Nate from now on.
Yeah. Sure thing.
Yeah, like this podcast, you know? That's why this was like one of our other like collaborating ventures was to do a podcast like this.
Yeah. But you know what? You were so lucky in graduating this year, but I have to graduate next year because my university system it requires like 2 years of fulfilling prerequisites before applying for the major.
Oh,
and then I have to go through the next 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very common with the students who try to get into the programs just to graduate in 4 years. But then there are often times when you have to complete the program in 5 or 6 years.
In like, yeah, because of like gen eds and stuff that you haven't already met.
Yeah.
Though, yeah, like, I mean, even then, I think, most of my time is going to be, like, open now, and, like, then Nate can take advantage of, like, a lot of the stuff I'm not doing, because I have so much free time now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and
no, I can still help.
Yeah.
It's just depending on when I'm free, though.
Yeah, exactly. So, like whenever you're, like, basically, at that point, like, my work schedule, like, in regards to our collaborations is your work schedule. Whenever you're free, I'm always free.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so, yeah, basically, the gist of it, was, we grew up as friends in 7th grade. We stayed best friends, until now. And, we've been collaborating on, like, many different, like, creative mediums or, like, different projects, whether it be live action. We attempted animation at some point, and, like, even audio or, like, just abridging stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we've been creative partners since the inception. Well, since, like, I want to say, when was our first video together? Was 2009?
I guess so.
Yeah,
or
I think
during December of 2008.
Maybe. I think so. Potentially. But, yeah. We'd been working together on videos since then, and, I'm still very happy to be working with him. It's always fun to have him in calls, especially, like, showing him, Nate, look at this! This is dumb! Angry noises! Or, like, Nate, this is so stupid, look at this! Oh my god. Like,
are you trying to be funny? That is so dumb. No, even my real life video is terrible. Like, you can actually see my face, but then I don't know how to come up something funny.
Oh no, well,
and I know
mean,
that
like,
you're always there by my side.
Yeah. I think, like, that was a while ago. So, like, I mean, now it would probably be a little more interesting. But yeah, I think that's more or less going to cover our history of the hosts. And I think that's more or less going to wrap it up, unless you want to have any, like, concluding remarks or whatnot.
Well, I thought that I was going to add in a few stories, but that'll be
no, you can. You
want a few stories?
Oh. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so there were some moments during our first collaboration together back in Iwakuni. I remember, well, during the time of Stupid Ends, is that one of our friends was trying to refilm the scene like 100 times. Yep. It was near that playground between two apartments, and then he said, you know what, let's fuck this, and let's just start over and just to get this perfect. And it's this scene between me and then this other guy. Because what we're supposed to do is chase each other, like through a montage, but then at the end, we suddenly change clothes, and then we And then I asked him, like, hey, do you want to get some ice cream? And he said, yeah, I'd like some ice cream. And then we just chilled out and walked away. And I asked him, why did your clothes change? Why did your clothes change? But, there was another version that was a hilarious one before the version I said.
Change.
Yeah. We were exaggerating, like, why'd your clothes change? Yeah! No. Hey, you want to get some ice cream? Like, yeah, I want some ice cream. And then we were walking crazily. We were walking crazily, and then... No. May I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then while we were walking so crazy out of the shot, and then I know we said, why'd your clothes change? And they said, why'd your clothes change? And they said, you better shut up! Yeah, we were walking so far. Yeah, we were walking so far. And then when we came back, we saw Dusty laughing so hard on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at some point I was on the ground. I was like literally just, I couldn't breathe. I was just like...
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, basically. I think that was probably one of the best bits we did. It's a shame that we didn't get to do more live action stuff because that was quite a bit funny.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I think that was probably the most memorable part of like filming that. I think the one guy that was directing the shot had a different impression than what Nate and I had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it ended up being funnier, but we didn't include it, I think, in the end.
Yep. It should have been kept there. But,
yeah. I mean, I had it in like the previews and stuff. I think maybe someday, if I still have access to the footage, I should. I don't know if I do though. But yeah, it was quite fun. Did you have any other like stories or stuff?
Oh, we also made an ad from that's similar to one of the expedition ads about volunteering.
Oh right, yeah. I almost forgot. Like a lot of the live action stuff actually stemmed from being in a video productions class together in 8th grade, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, like the fact that our instructor liked our videos so much, like when we were producing them together, and even when we were like on our own, I think we were always like the best.
We're like the best
production students.
Yeah, we're like the best duo in that class.
Yeah.
We even mentioned our names in our first video, which I play as a bully, and then when I entered into this classroom, I was about to push him over, but then I just fell to the floor. And
Max Rodriguez.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, he played the bully more or less for like quite a few videos, I think. Like eventually at some point we made another Max Rodriguez video where he was cheating or something.
Yeah. He was cheating, and then I think one guy, that was you.
Yeah.
You don't want to trust this bully. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to trust this bully because this bully wants to get the work from you. But then at the end, you reveal the truth about Max.
Right.
And then at the end, Max just wrote like, "I will not cheat, up repeatedly on the board," while the teacher was just standing there angrily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's all good. But yeah, like most of that was basically like the reason why we started making videos together was because I think we were both very interested in producing stuff like that. Yeah. We were fans of like Sandy Not Included, Robot Chicken and stuff, and that's why Stupid Ends was kind of a skit-based video, and we spent like months scripting like out ideas and stuff.
Like, how do these people get so funny? They must be so creative that we want to be like them. But it was so hard to process our minds at that particular level.
Yeah.
And I think even so at a very young age.
Yeah. I think those ideas made us laugh back in the day, like as opposed to like what made it so funny. Like it was just things that would make us laugh.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helped us really get through it. And yeah, like that's why like I think our first collaborative venture was based around video productions. So yeah, shout outs to the teacher who helped like inspire us to make videos. I'm not gonna say his name, but you know, shout outs to him.
We want to thank him.
I doubt he's watching, but or at least listening.
It's like,
but,
I recognize these guys, but then Nate sounds really different. His voice has gone so deep.
Yeah. Were there any more stories that you wanted to discuss, or was that?
I'm trying to think of more. I think,
All right.
I don't know. We brought in this tall black guy who was doing DBZ stuff on other guys we invite for stupid ends. And I know he just, he was playing around with my shotgun, my toy shotgun.
Yeah.
And eventually he broke it.
Oh.
It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Oh no.
There were a lot of like different things that we had in Stupid Ends. And like eventually we had like stuff planned for like an episode 2, but we never made it, unfortunately.
No. Right.
But you know, it is what it is.
But for episode 2, we tried to use pivot animation for this one kid.
Oh no, we were actually going to do pivot animation for the first episode.
Oh.
Remember when we were like quick to the abacus and like you were, and then you had the pose like a disco star, except like only your hands out and nothing else. Like your hand was pointing out with the finger.
Yeah. And then the Batman and Robin music was playing, and what after it says "Stupid Ends," we just got pushed over by the abacus, and then you said, "I told you we should have used the Batmobile," and said, "Agreed."
And then you go like, "I agree."
I agree.
I think that would have been funny if we were able to do that. It was unfortunate because I think at the time it was just a little difficult to try and pull together, and we didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
But you know, like, I think despite all of that, I think we still had a lot of fun then.
Also, fun trivia fact is that there's this one pivot project that looks similar to Dragon Ball Z, and that gave me an idea for a spin-off of it.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I just follow one character with his own separate storyline, but then it'll just follow the separate storyline, but then it'll follow the timeline of it. And it feels really, really spectacular. I thought it's gonna be great. But then later on, it proves to be ridiculous. And I thought I just want to take this spin-off as my own independent thing.
Yeah.
And that's
eventually inspired him to do his own actual story, which he's still hard at work on, like for outlines and whatnot. So yeah, it's still inspiring through collaborative ventures and whatnot, you know? That's, I think we're always we're always giving each other some way to like, do like some form of creative medium or something. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up for us.
Yeah.
You agree?
What I really think though is that, if I weren't to meet Dusty back then this would have happened. It's all thanks to him that he introduced me to the world of YouTube, which I didn't get really used to. But then we just collaborate much more on production and collaborative projects like abridging and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciate from a best friend like Dusty. So.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you too. Like, I think without you, things would be less fun, honestly. Like making abridgments and stuff. But yeah, you know, that's gonna be it for us, for barely in the box, because we're barely creative, barely outside the box, you know?
Yep.
Barely thinking outside the box. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. Join us again next time when we potentially have a guest and we actually have like a pre-planned kind of topic to discuss. I've been Dusty Socks. You can find me at twitter.com/Dusty_Socks and youtube.com/C/Dusty Socks. You can find Nate at, go ahead and plug your handle if you want.
You can find me on Twitter at NateDJMoviesBox. You can find me there too.
And then on YouTube, if you want to plug your YouTube channel as well.
It's still under development.
Oh, all right, okay.
I think I'm just gonna get away with my old YouTube channel for now.
Okay,
And stick
all right,
with
that's
the
fine.
new one because pre-planned stuff for that channel might be coming up. I don't know. Later.
All right, okay.
We'll see.
But yeah, you'll be able to find us in the links in the description. Just go ahead and follow those. As we wrap it up, I want to say thank you guys for listening. If you've been listening so far, I appreciate that you guys are actually tuning in for this first episode of Barely in the Box. I've been Dusty, and
This is Nate.
and we're signing off. Take care, guys. Oh.